of your comments during the course of this live newscast. Share with us what you think the president should be addressing tomorrow. And one of the things that indeed the president will be addressing is the state of the economy. And I pick this issue about the state of economy with Rose Kananu, who is a PPP expert. Hi Rose, good to see you.
Good to see you, Ken.
And
thank you for the invite.
Karibu sana. The state of the economy is a very important thing. But first off, I want to ask, is there justification of using PPPs in a broke economy such as Kenya to begin with? Do you find any justification that we should be saying PPPs is the way to go?
Yes, indeed. And in fact, PPPs become very important in a, as you quote unquote call it, a broke economy. Because when an economy is robust, has enough tax revenue, you don't really need external help, with the private sector bringing in funding. So PPPs are right on time, considering where we are at and the fact that we need infrastructure built.
How long have we been consuming PPPs in this country?
We have a long history with
really?
PPPs.
But it just looked like PPPs just sprung from nowhere just the other day.
It's the time of the day for PPPs to become a center of topic. But Kenya has been on the PPP journey since we got the first act back in 2013.
Okay.
We reenacted that act in 2021. We built quite a number of projects. It's just that we've not had a lot.
Like which
Expressway.
Which one? Expressway was a PPP?
Expressway is a PPP.
Okay.
Lake Turkana Wind Power is a PPP.
But most of them have questions. You have to agree, Rose, that most of these PPPs have questions.
Not really. I think there are questions now because it's becoming more prevalent. The discourse is out there, of course. And the public is feeling like maybe we are doing something that we shouldn't be doing. But nonetheless, we need to speak more openly about the process that is being followed.
Exactly.
There is a law, there is an act that is governing the PPPs that we're doing in the country.
That is essentially part of my conversation tonight, because I think there's a huge public outrage because of the understanding of what PPPs are, and not even because of the understanding, because of how they're being undertaken. For example, the PAP of Adani, the main concern is why it's shrouded in secrecy, why no one is explaining it to Kenyans, and why Kenyans feel they're being forced to accept Adani. Why is that so if there's a law that exists?
Yeah, I think it's because it feels like it's rushed, and we've had these conversations on other media. Yes, indeed, there is work that has been done to structure the Adani contract. I'm not privy, though, to the details of it, so I'm just in the dark, as most people in the public. And so we need to see a little bit more about how this PPP, this PIP has been structured, why Adani, why there are other PIPs. So that is why people are feeling like something is amiss, and I believe government needs to come out more openly, and we are seeing that with Ketraco. The MD of Ketraco has been very public in describing how this PIP has been put together. But the reason why there's also a lot of questions is because there's not a lot of knowledge and awareness about how PPPs work.
Okay, but do you agree as a PPP expert that there's a lot of things that Kenyans were not told about the PIP?
And that will happen with the PPP projects. I mean, like Expressway, we never really got to see the contract.
So it becomes acceptable because the former president did not show us the contract in spite of promising. So it becomes acceptable.
It is not acceptable. What needs to be done is more public education about how PIPs work and how PPPs work, so that Kenyans can ask the right questions.
Okay.
That they understand what to ask. What is the constitutionality behind this PIP? Is the law, the PPP Act, being followed? But what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of questions, but they are not founded on all the facts.
Because of lack of knowledge.
There's lack of knowledge, lack of awareness.
Yeah.
So we need to educate the public more. Government that is implementing these projects also needs to make it more open about how these contracts are being structured, so that they become accepted
Okay.
Because PPPs are actually going to revolutionize the way we develop our projects.
Why, as an expert of PPP, do you think there was a lot of secrecy, especially in this? I'm inviting you to speculate.
Let me speculate from the expert point of view, because I don't know how it was structured.
Yes.
PPP contracts by nature are complex. They take a long time, and sometimes when it's a PIP, there is a limit to how much of the, the details of the contract can be brought out there, because a PIP by nature is where the private party, basically has brought to the public entity a project that either they have a special capability within it, or it's proprietary. So there's only so much that can be put out before the contract is signed. It's kind of confidential.
Yeah.
So there are some aspects that can't fully be laid out there, because it would compromise, the private party that has taken the risk to propose the project.
Right now, the country is not doing so well. The president and the government has to choose to pay our debt to avoid debt default, and to pay recurrent expenditure. And even the recurrent expenditure, there was a tussle even in the last few days between the Treasury and the Council of Governors, right? How would you propose that going forward, especially that there's need for development, this happens? Explain to us in a nutshell, how would you propose as an expert, if you were to advise the government, this is the way to go with a PPP or PIP, what would you tell the government?
Yeah. So there are three key things that we need to do. First is really just get that knowledge and awareness out there, because to structure a PPP requires a diverse set of experts. We don't have that knowledge yet, even within the professionals within the market. A lot of our PIPs and PPPs essentially are being advised by international advisors, international consultants. We need to build capacity and capability so that we can speed up the rate at which we are doing the PPPs.
Okay.
We shouldn't take too long. So Lake Turkana Wind Power, as an example, 10 years. Investors don't have the luxury to wait
that long.
Yeah. And then we need a solid pipeline of prioritized projects that we are continuously developing, because infrastructure is, if we complete a lot of our infrastructure, it's going to solve the problem we're having with the employment and with the liquidity, because the economy is not productive. The economy becomes productive when we complete infrastructure. Yeah.
I actually think the issue of liquidity could even be sorted by just paying the pending bills, but that's just me. As we end, because we have just a minute, I'd like to know, tomorrow the State of the Nation address, what would you like to see the President focus on as a Kenyan?
So for me, as a Kenyan, getting the economy to become productive again. At the moment, a lot of businesses are floundering because we don't have liquidity. A lot of businesses are shutting down. So even this tax money that we're looking for, we can't get it because the economy is just not productive. If we unlock that and get the people, productive again, and cash collection coming in, we'll pay pending bills. Our construction industry is a big victim of these pending bills. The other one is key, especially in my area of infrastructure, is to really develop a pipeline of projects that we are continuously, developing, building over time.
You're asking to really increase projects, and we have pending projects.
We need to continue building. We need to continue building our power lines. We need to continue building our roads. We need to work on our health sector. So we cannot stop developing our projects, because that contributes overall to the growth of the economy.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'd like to see that.
Thank you, Rose Kananu. We are 2 minutes past our time, but thank you so much for shedding light on PPPs. And most important that I think needs to happen from where I sit is Kenyans need to understand why where we are. And I think this notion that we need PPPs because we are broke, to me, doesn't sit well.
Not really. PPPs is a mechanism to help us build our infrastructure faster and sustainably.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't be able to do that just by relying on our exchequer or international debt, which we are now not in a position to access it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a very small win. Thank you so much, Rose, for coming tonight
Sure.
and sharing. The economy is one of the priority areas that the president must touch on tomorrow, if anything, to make sure that money is in the pockets of Kenyans. And PPPs is one of them, just the understanding. Time now for a break. We still have Governor for Busia, Paul Utoma, on the other side. When we come back, however, we'll be doing some business and sports. At the top of the hour, so many questions from the county of Busia to the governor. Stay tuned. We are back in a moment. From the business desk, 45.8